Many business owners are pouring time, heart, and soul into socials, posting every day, curating their feed, keeping up with the trends, and chasing the algorithm. And meanwhile, their websites are neglected, confusing, outdated, not converting. So, I want to talk today about why this is wrong and why there is an alternative way, and why actually focusing on content that we own, first and foremost, is generally the better way to make sure that we are making the most of what we're creating and to really build something that's going to work for us, not just now, but also in the future as well. So, the problem with creating content for socials is that most of the engagement comes in the first 48 hours. So, you're putting all this effort in, you're like, putting so much, literally so much heart and emotions and time into creating content for social media, and you're feeding somebody else's platform. So I talked about this last week in the episode about social media being optional, about the fact that if we're not paying for a product, if we're not paying to advertise on a product, then we are the product. So it's something that actually these platforms are basically getting us to be free content creators for them. So it's not content that you own, it's not something that you have control over, it's not something that you can utilize in any way that you want. So that's why I always say to make sure that your website is the place that you start and build from there, really. So your website is the place where people actually make decisions. They decide whether to buy from you, whether to join your email list, whether to take the action that you are trying to encourage them to take. And if it isn't getting the attention that it needs, then this is somewhere that you can focus on and actually really just help to move your business forward. And rather than kind of investing in, like, I always think of it like social media is like investing in a rented billboard. And then if your website is a mess, then it's like them not actually sorting out your actual shop. So somebody sees a billboard advert, they come into the shop and it looks a mess. And I kind of think of that as an analogy of what it's like if you're focusing on social media and you've got these beautiful curated social media feeds and then your website's a mess. It's a real sort of missed opportunity, really. So last week's episode 102, was all about social media is optional, and this was all about how we make that possible. So this is going to be a series around why social media is optional, what that means for us, and how we can make the most of it. And this is really about how focusing on our own content first is key to making sure that we are making the most of it, really. So it's really just thinking about if we were flipping the script and instead of creating stuff just to feed the algorithm, we instead start creating content that we own first and foremost. So if your website, I sort of think of it like your website being the hub of your business, and it's more important than ever now as we move into sort of more AI search and actually getting recommended by platforms like ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Google's AI mode, and anywhere where people can get recommended, is making sure that we are actually building a brand and building our authority of our brand with long-term content. So if we want to get mentioned as the expert in ChatGPT or wherever, as well as Google searches, then making sure that across the internet, using that same repeated message over and over again. So we're making sure that we have this consistent, authoritative brand, and your website is the hub of that. So all of these platforms, as they're looking for information on why they should recommend you as a trusted person for the particular search that somebody's doing, then having your website as the hub of that brings everything back to that thing that you own and that is going to show you as that authority in what you do, really. One of the problems with focusing on social media is we're kind of being forced to be content creators. We're being forced into creating this endless cycle of content. And by focusing on your own content first, it can just help you to bring back control. So you can feel good about the content you're putting out into the world, and you can just really take back that freedom. So I just want to talk about a few things around why it's important to focus on the content that you own first, really. So the big one is obviously that you're free of the social media's algorithm. By focusing on stuff that you own first, it gives you that choice back. It gives you that freedom that you're not then relying on the algorithm to bring you customers, bring you clients. You're doing other things in your business, creating your own content that actually then is what then brings those people in, because you make that choice. If you decide to post something, it's something that you're doing because you want to rather than you have to. I think that's my big problem with all of this, is that we're sort of told that you have to do social media, that you can't have a successful business without social media. And actually, it's not true. If you don't want to use it, then you don't have to. And if you don't want to post every day, or if you don't want to post today, or if you don't want to post for the next 6 months, it should be your choice. It's your business. It's your choice. You decide what you want to do, really. But by creating stuff that you own and then maybe using that as the starting point for everything else, then it's not stuff that's just going to go away tomorrow. It's not going to go away in 24 hours, basically. So focus on a few key pages of your own website. And this is where I always start when I'm working with clients in the Website Success Hub, or if I'm working one-to-one with clients. Then we focus on some key pages of your website first, making that the hub of your content and the hub of your business as well. So everything leads back to your website. It just makes everything else simpler then. If you put the work in to actually get your website messaging clear, this is a big part of what we do in the Website Growth Club, is actually making sure that we're really clear on the problems that we solve for our customers, the language that they would use around that, the state that they're in, like where they are before they work with us, where they want to be when they've finished working with us, and how we can get that across in simple ways on our website. So we're not making people burn mental calories to work out how to do business with us, basically. If you do that and then you put that work in with doing that, it's going to help you feel more confident about what you're actually selling. It's going to help you understand why what you do matters. It's going to help you to understand what problems you solve for your customers and why that is important. I think we can often get caught up in thinking about the features of what we're selling, whereas actually doing this work and focusing on how this helps your customers, how it helps make their lives better, then that can then really help you across everything you're doing as well. So if you do decide to use social media, if you do decide that you want to create content for other platforms, or if you're doing guest talks and things like that, and you create that content there, by doing that work on your own website in the first place, you've got that messaging there. You've got your clear map of how you actually help people. You've got that language that you need to use across all of these places. So it just makes it a lot simpler. It makes it a lot easier to then get your messaging across in a clear way, and keep repeating that as well, because that's the other thing with being featured in AI searches and showing up on Google as well, is if you're repeating that message on the different places throughout the internet where your business does exist, if you're doing PR and that kind of stuff, then that's how you actually build that brand authority, really. So focusing on those core pages first, making sure that your sales pages, the pages that are closest to the sale, then making sure that they're actually talking about the things that you do as well, really. The good thing with doing that and doing that on your website is that does continue to work for you over time as well. I think one of the problems as well, and the thing of like taking back control, is as business owners, we end up doing lots of this stuff for marketing. And what we really want to do is focus on the things that we actually enjoy doing, the things that actually is our craft, is the thing that we're selling to our customers, rather than sort of having to spend so much time creating brand new content all the time and just becoming, as I say, this content creator by doing this work and creating this hub. And it's not to say that you don't then come back and look at your website again, because you absolutely do need to, but you're not churning out content all the time, really. So it allows you to take the time and enjoy doing the things that you actually want to do in your business, rather than just doing this constant marketing on social media and having to be a content creator all the time. And as I say, you can repurpose it. With what you've created, you can then repurpose that and use that over time and as you want to, really. So you're not wasting time and energy as well. I think many or most of my listeners here have businesses that do good in the world. They're purpose-led businesses where they want to help their customers. They really care about helping their clients and their customers. And I believe most of them as well don't want to overwhelm their customers. And I certainly feel like that about my clients. I don't want to overwhelm you with tons and tons of content. Just keep churning out content, adding to the noise, adding to the overwhelm. You feel overwhelmed creating the content. They feel overwhelmed because they're seeing all this content, and that's contributing to the noise in their brain as well. And that's not something to necessarily feel bad about if we are creating content. But I think it's that big thing of it being a choice rather than it being something where you're creating content for the sake of it. You may be using AI to generate some content or to give you the ideas for all of this endless content that you can create. And it does just end up being noise. It ends up being wasteful almost, really. If it's content that's throwaway, I've never really liked the idea of throwaway content. And if you are creating content that is just thrown away and just as soon as it comes out, almost it's then gone off into the ether, gone off into the algorithm, it's a waste of your time, it's a waste of your energy, it's a waste of your one precious life, I think, just creating content because you feel like you have to and because you feel like there's no alternative way to market your business without creating all of this endless content, really. So I think by focusing on stuff that you own, it gives you permission to step off the hamster wheel, to actually escape social media and to actually create content where you think about it. You spend time thinking about, what do I actually want to say to my customers and clients? What do I actually need to say? Have I said those important things in the place where I actually make my sales? Have I said those things in that content that I own? Because I see this a lot where people have got really beautiful curated Instagram feeds and they're really talking about the things that they do and the problems that they solve on Instagram, but not necessarily talking about that on their website, on the pages where people actually do buy and the pages that would actually show up in Google and other searches. So I think it's noticing how you feel about this, noticing that you are feeling like you've got to keep creating content. How does that make you feel? Does it make you feel anxious? Does it make you feel like full of joy and that you actually want to do it? Because I think, so often it doesn't. Often we are just doing this because we feel like we have to. And so it just gives you permission to have an alternative to that, really, and to think about things differently, really. So the other thing it does is it helps to build your brand. Obviously, this is a big part of this, by focusing on content that you own first, focusing on your website, focusing on those pages, whether it's blogs or whether it's sales pages, whatever pages you're thinking about on your website is the place where your sales take place, where your bookings happen, those kind of things. And the social media side of it is more like the signposts and not the actual store. And so let's focus on the store and building that brand there. And when you want to be recommended by Google or ChatGPT or any AI searches, they need to have long form content to pull from. So that doesn't necessarily mean blogs. Long form content can certainly be within your sales pages, but they can then understand that you are this business, this entity, this same person here that you're talking about in all the other places online. Maybe if you're getting talked about on forums and things like that, it brings back to that one place of authority that is building your brand, is showing your expertise, is showing why this isn't just more content that's been created by AI. And that's where adding in things like your own perspective on things and adding in your own authority, why you are the authority on this particular topic. Having that on your website helps to build that authority of your brand. And your website is the place that ties that all together as well, really. I'd recommend go back and listen to episode 92, which is Want to be ChatGPT Famous. Here's how AI really picks who to show. Have a listen to that one. That gives you some tips on how to actually show up in ChatGPT and be the one that actually is shown up in the AI searches, and how you can then build that brand authority within that. And I think that building this content and building it on your own website is the third important point, really, is that your own content can last for years, whereas socials disappear so fast. So the average longevity of an Instagram post in the feed, so when it gets most of its engagement, most of its likes, etc., is 48 hours. And LinkedIn is 24 hours. For Facebook, it's 5 hours. And TikTok, ultimately, it's minutes after a video is released. If it doesn't go viral, then it's kind of disappears off, apparently. So I think when you think about that and you think about all of that effort that you put into this post and into creating these feeds, then it's a bit soul destroying, really, when you think that that's gone in that time. Whereas content on your own website, blogs, blog posts, podcast episodes can be performing for years and years to come. And even if it's a blog post that you find it suddenly dipping off in the amount of engagement that it's getting and the amount of views it's getting, sometimes just going in and updating it, looking at that article, looking at the stuff you've already created and working out how to make it better and to tweak it is so much easier to do and so much more effective than just reinventing the wheel all the time, creating new stuff from scratch, really. So that's the ways that we can use our own content and making sure that it does last, making sure that we are making the most of it, but not just for now, but for in the future as well. So no algorithm can take that away, which is really good. No platform change can take that away. We own it. It's our content. We can do what we want with that, really, basically. We're not going to break somebody's rules unless you got to do something really bad to break Google's rules and get de-indexed from Google. But we're not so beholden to those algorithmic changes. Obviously, there are Google's algorithms, but that content is still there, and it's still something that you can still get indexed and make the most of, really. An example of this is my podcast. So I've just hit 8,000 downloads of the podcast without promoting it on social media or paying for ads. And those downloads are still compounding as well. So early episodes are still getting downloads every single week. I see that when I look at my stats. I can see those early episodes that were quite popular, and that people are still listening to them every week. And then people go through and binge your content and get to know you. And when they come onto discovery calls or when they make a purchase, they feel like they already know you so much further. And it's not just my own podcast as well. So I'm getting clients from a podcast I was on 2 years ago. And I see that on my email list as well. I see as people are signing up to my email list, they'll mention podcasts that I've been on as how they've heard about me. And it's great. This is still sustainable content. It's still long form content that can help to keep working for you for years to come as well, really. So when I'm working one-to-one with clients and also in my Website Growth Club, we use the Website Success Framework. So that's my signature framework. And it starts with the foundation. So it starts with making sure those most important, those core pages of your website are optimized, are really making the most of what you sell, and are mentioning those keywords that they need to make sure that they are showing up on Google, converting people to clients as well. And then we would then build that out with some key assets as well, for not necessarily blogging. It does depend on the business. For some businesses that might involve blogging, for some businesses it won't. Depends how many things you're selling, what kind of business you've got, how much content you've got already on your website. But the goal with that is that it keeps bringing you clients. So we work through the foundations, we work through those stages of the pathway to website success, and we make sure that your website is working for you, focusing on the most important things first as well. Because I think it's quite often the temptation is there to just tinker and mess about with your website and try some different things, whereas actually focusing on those most important things first, which for a lot of businesses, that's not blogging, that's not where to focus first, but actually making sure that we do that, then you can invest in your website once, and you can benefit for years, basically. And that's not to say, as I say, that you can build your website and then forget about it, but it's that you've built out those foundations, you've really got a strong base for your whole business that then comes back to your website as the hub, really. So is your website telling your story as clearly as your Instagram feed? And if it's not, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about having to create content all the time? Do you want a different way? Are you looking for some alternative to being a slave to social media all the time? So this week, if you're thinking about how you can actually make the most of this and actually start taking action on this, update one page of your website. Pick one that is closest to the sale. So for some businesses, that might be sales pages. For some businesses, that will be your email sign-up page. If you tend to sell to people more through your email list, then it may be more important to focus on that. Or even sending emails as well. That's another form of evergreen content, things that can keep performing for you and keep bringing clients into your business time after time and for years to come, really. Or if not, if you're thinking, okay, I've done my page that's closest to the sale, what page of your website is going to really help to build your authority? What page is something that you need to go back and look at and improve so that you can really show why your business is the one that should be recommended in relation to what you do? There might be a page on your website, maybe it's a blog, maybe it's your about page, but maybe it's something else where actually that's the page you need to focus on to help to build your authority online, really. So this is what we focus on in the Website Growth Club, as I say. So helping you to build this hub so you don't have to keep running faster and faster and faster on the social treadmill just to try and keep up. And also with one-to-one support as well. So if you're not sure what's right for you, if you're not sure what path can help you the most in terms of actually getting your website working for you, making your website your hardest working team member, then book a discovery call. I'll give you my honest thoughts and guide you in the right direction, really, in terms of how I can help you. So remember, just to wrap this all up, create your own content first. Social media is optional, but your website should always be the hub that it comes back to. And those assets, those things that you build on your own website will outlive every fleeting post and will help to build your brand authority, both now and for the future. So I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please subscribe to the show and share this episode with a friend who also wants to escape social media's grip. And take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.